champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes. Welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
MH.
Yes, he is the DB of the show, and we're Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. Here, interviewing the best professionals in the game and in the boardroom. Hey, we're covering it all, laughing at it all, while providing a platform to be heard. So our listeners, you know the drill. We have to welcome her, all right? So our guest today, let's fight on, all right? Let's fight on the victory for this two-time Emmy-winning bilingual host, reporter, editor. I mean, credits include digital host, producer for the NFL Network, content strategist for L Snap. You know what I mean? Your girl got so many slashes. I don't know where Cordell's at, man. She got more slashes than Cordell, man. But just doing it all. So L Snap was the NFL's only and first U.S. Latino IG account. 24 to 2024 Olympics in La Paris. The girl's done it all. You know what I mean? So gotta please clap it up, as she is the current host of the Los Angeles Dodgers in-stadium host. Please give it up. A warm welcome for Elisa Hernandez. Yes. Hey, well, thank you.
What an intro.
This is a long time coming. I really appreciate you. But when you're doing so many things like that, it's hard to squeeze us in. So we glad we made it.
I appreciate you. You got me at Jordan House when we were there for Super Bowl. You were like, hold up,
wait.
We made eye contact. You were like, I was like, I know. And then now here we are. So shout out to you. You stay consistent.
That's right. But I mean, it's been consistent and a joy to watch your journey. So we're definitely going to get into it. But how we start our show and all of our shows is a shoot your shot moment. And it's so fitting because I saw on one of your recent posts is that you don't lose, right? You win or you learn a lesson. So please give us a shoot your shot moment. It could have been, the one you talked about on social, but we would like a different one for our audience. But give us a shoot your shot moment where you won or you learned a lesson.
You got to shoot your shot a lot in this industry, as you know. I think the best one, you mentioned it, when I went to Paris. When I tell you working for the Olympics was a dream come true, but it was a dream I didn't even know I had. Okay. Like, I grew up on football, basketball, baseball, and yes, I was aware of other sports. I covered water polo and things like that, but working the Olympics, maybe I didn't have that dream because I never thought I could get there or whatever the reason was, but that opportunity kind of came out of nowhere. So when I was field producing for Sunday Night Football, the season was over, the Olympics were coming up. And I remember just telling my bosses, hey, kind of joking, I was like, hey, if you guys, need extra help in Paris, your girl's small, I fit in that carry-on bag, just let me in, just shoot. And, they laughed it off and they're like, yeah, we got you. And that was kind of it, it was kind of a throwaway comment that I made. And as far as I was concerned, they had already picked their field producers months in advance that were going to go to Paris. And I was in the middle of football season and playoffs and Super Bowl and all those things. So when the time came, I started getting this call from this number and I don't know who it is. So I'm just ignoring because I don't answer calls. I don't know if it's important. You'll leave a voicemail. It's just how I feel. And my boss from Sunday Night Football calls me and he's like, has someone named, XYZ try to contact you? And I'm like, no. And they're like, have you gotten a missed call from this number? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, if you don't answer that phone call, and I was like, I'm sorry, who is it? And he's like, call that number back. So I called them back and they were like, oh, we're trying to reach you. And it wasn't it was 2 days, but we're trying to reach the last 2 days. They're like, we need a field producer, we reached out Sunday Night Football. They just gave rave reviews about you. We want to know if you're open to going to Paris for the Olympics. And it was one of those moments where I'm like, wait, I was just playing. I'm in the middle of baseball season. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing for football season. And next thing you know, you don't say no to those things. And so I was like, yeah, I'm down to go. Ironically enough, I'm also interviewing for the Denver Broncos position as team reporter. And I told them at my interview, I was just like, hey, so I know you guys are in the process of interviewing. I'm going to Paris on Friday. So if that takes me out of the running for this, I understand.
weird,
No love
right?
lost. Like, I get it, but like, I'm not going to be the girl that doesn't go to Paris. So like, I'm going to Paris, and they understood. And I did my interview process basically in a week with them. And then when I was in Paris, I got offered the job to go to Denver. But it's one of those things where even with that was a different kind of shot. But I
Right.
basically tell them, like, hey, like, I'm not going to pass up this opportunity to not cover the Olympics in Paris for a month and a half to potentially interview with you guys. Like, if you guys don't know what you got, then you're never gonna know. So it was one of those things that I was grateful for, and everything worked out. After Paris, I went to Denver for 2 years. So
That's
definitely a
beautiful.
lot of shooting, a lot of baskets went in. So a lot of wins.
There it is.
I got an opening question, but what's your honest thoughts on Paris? Just random.
Okay, so I always say, like, anything Olympics located is going to be marvelous. Okay, like, the cities were safe, they were clean. I was walking around 3 a.m, no issues. Like, it was because it's set up. The city is painted for the Olympics, and they do a very good job of taking care of the millions of tourists that come for it. So I had a great time. I love the food. It actually worked out because my parents that year celebrated 45 years of marriage, and so I convinced them to go to Paris for their honeymoon. So they, got on a plane, went to Paris, and they were with me for a few days with my sister, went to go see some games, and it was awesome. So it was really cool. And I got to tell them that I got the Broncos job because the Broncos offered it to me when I was out there. I literally booked a dinner for them on the Seine, and we were on a boat going across the Eiffel Tower. And then I told them, like, also I'm leaving to Denver. So it was a lot, but Paris is great for me. I love Paris. I actually want to go back. But again, I feel like it was different because the Olympics were there, and it's just, I don't know. I loved it. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. And the bread there is fire. Okay.
Yeah.
Like all those like cartoons you see of like people walking around with big baguettes, like just walking the streets, just eating. That was me. I was just stopping by getting a sandwich. I haven't had sandwiches for lunch in a long time. Every day I was at that bakery, like, yes, that one. Yes, that one, please. Thank you.
Shout out to Ratatouille, my favorite movie. But you got to go during the Olympics. Noted. Okay.
Yes.
I understand. Different experiences.
or any major like event.
Yeah.
So
different experiences.
Yeah.
Okay. My actual question was, where did your love for sports start?
My love for sports started with my brothers. Like, I grew up such a tomboy when I was younger. I didn't really get into my girly ways till like really going into college, but my brothers, just like the way that they just love football, and I always wanted to play with them and go out and like play football and play basketball, and they never took it easy on me. They were always like, okay, like, you want to be our little brother, like, this is how it's gonna go. And so once I started understanding the game more, it was like, oh wait, I actually like this. And then it started turning into, wait, like, my first basketball game was watching Kobe play Allen Iverson at Staples Center. That was my first basketball game ever. And when I was there, obviously the atmosphere, everything, but I realized I had a passion for this when the game was over and everyone left the court. And I'm like, wait, where do they go? I want to know this, and I want to ask this. I want to ask Allen Iverson. And when I realized that I had that passion of like, I want to know what happens when the game is over, that's when I realized, like, okay, it's not just that I like sports and I'm just going to talk about it and watch them on Sundays. I want to be a part of the action and what makes sports so special, and getting those quotes out of guys, finding out the mentalities of these guys in the playoffs, going against an opponent like Allen Iverson, obviously Mamba mentality, all those things. So that's really where my love came for it, and how it flourished the more my brothers just let me tag along places.
So, flag football is growing across the country, and then obviously it's going to be Olympic sport in LA here in a couple of years. So if this was where it is now, back when you were growing up, are we looking at a quarterback, or are you a receiver? What are we doing?
I'm definitely a receiver. I'm too small to be a running back. I'd probably be like a receiver, or like, a corner. I'm a little shifty. I love all the receivers. Okay, and I love all the corners, but corners are basically receivers I can't catch. So it's like I may get some slack for that. Okay, but let's be for real. They all know it's true. I love y'all.
Another way to say the best athlete on the field. Yeah,
I'm just saying. So I'm just saying. But I have my moments where I can't catch either, so I'll probably be a corner. But I think I just having those positions where you get that one-on-one opportunity to just make a quick move and kind of go. That's what I want. So that's probably where I would land. And how flag football has grown over the last few years has just been insane. A lot of good friends play flag football, so I'm excited to see a different avenue for them to reach their goals and be Olympic gold medalists, silver, bronze. Yeah.
Love that. So, LA born, but of El Salvadorian roots with your parents. So, but spending the time in LA, like, are you all things LA? When you and your brothers and sisters growing up, or what are the teams?
Yeah, we were. So I had a lot of Bay Area family, and so I have a New York family. So I had a lot of Yankees in my bloodline, Giants, things like that. San Francisco 49ers, Warriors. I was a little different. Obviously, we're baseball and basketball, like there's no way around it. Dodgers, Lakers all day. But for football, it was a little different for me because when I was growing up, we didn't have a team. Like we had USC and UCLA, and like that was it, right? And obviously, right. I went to USC. That was my team, fight on. But I didn't have one. And it's funny. Every time I talk to anybody in sports, like they always want some deep story of like, how did you become a football fan? And how did you become, a Broncos fan? And I'm like, yo, if I'm gonna be real honest, when I didn't know nothing about sports, didn't know touchdown, nothing, I picked it because of the horse. That's literally why I picked the Broncos. I was like, the horse is cool. I love horses. I'm obsessed. And it was either them or the Colts, and the Colts horse is ugly. So I was like, well, guess I'm a Broncos fan. And that's literally how that started. And then I was blessed with Elway and TD and Sharp and understanding how the game works. And I was blessed with, just iconic plays. And that's kind of how that happened for me. So that's how I became a Broncos fan living in LA. But my brothers are 49ers fans. A few cousins are Cowboys, Lions. We're all over the place. But I have a special place for the 49ers just because my brother was such a diehard fan. So yeah, like 49ers for my California team, and then the Broncos, obviously. People always ask me, what about the Rams? And I'm like, shout out to the Rams. Shout out to the Rams. Right. But like they were the St. Louis Rams when I was growing up. So it's like I don't really know how to feel about it, but hey, they won a Super Bowl in LA. You can't top that, winning it in your home stadium. So shout out to the Rams.
That's very
the Broncos, though. I mean, yeah, we was all cool
to look, everyone always. I'm like, look, bro, the horse got me. Are you kidding me? It's like the Bronco, spirit free. I love horses. I was like, that's just what it is. I was like, and then obviously I got 2D and Sharp and Elway and Helicopter and Atwater and all these amazing legends. But when I first started, that's always so girls that want to get in sports. I was like, it doesn't matter. Just get in it. And then once you're in it, then you can learn everything and anything. But there doesn't have to be some super deep rooted history of bloodlines and generate. Like, bro, pick whatever team you want and go from there. And that's why I tell all the girls that just want to get into sports. I'm just like, just pick a team and then learn everything about it and you'll be fine.
So, I mean, I say Denver because that's one of the many places that I've grown up. It's a joke on the sport that I've lived in, or on the show that I've lived in a lot of different places. I have military family, but Denver is where I spent a lot of my time, and I was not a Broncos fan for not even a second. So I'm around Broncos fans constantly.
I mean, we're pretty great. I'm just saying, we're pretty great.
So football was, you mentioned one. Baseball, but football was number one?
Football was king. And then obviously I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. So that was, it would fluctuate depending on the season, right? But I always had a special place for football and basketball. And then my love for baseball came later. I've always been honest about that. I didn't know anything about baseball when I first started getting into it. I thought it was boring. I thought, like, who watches this? Like, and honestly, once I started working in baseball, I started getting in, like, okay, like maybe coming to the game is cool, but still watching on TV. And then I learned how to score a game in baseball. And once I learned how to score a game in baseball, it just opened up the game for me in a way where now I understand why 0-0 is such an exciting game, because you're in a pitching duel, and you're waiting to see what pitcher is going to blink first. This no hitter or one hitter, complete game, perfect, like whatever it is. Once you realize the caliber that what that takes to accomplish, I got a newfound respect for baseball, and it's definitely taken up as being my favorite sport a little bit. But football's always king, but basketball and baseball kind of battle out from time to time.
There it goes. So we mentioned a couple of times Fight On. So you're a graduate there. How did you choose that school and university when you had like other teams and other places? And how did you ultimately get there?
Yeah, I mean, USC was always someplace I wanted to go, mostly because it's in the heart of LA, right? And the way I looked at it is like, if I want to be with the best, if I want to compete with the best, I have to go where there's the most competition. And for me, that was USC. You know, it's downtown LA. You know, at this point, we're gonna have two of everything: two soccer teams, two basketball teams, three with the Sparks. You know, two baseball teams, hockey. There's two of everything. So opportunities are endless. It's really what you make of it. And so that's really what drew me to USC. And obviously, like when I was growing up, like Reggie Bush and just like the legacy of what the Trojans were, I was like, that's excellence. That's what I want to be a part of. Especially being in Southern California, the Trojan network is just unmatched. And it's something that's helped me along in my career and has gotten me multiple opportunities simply because I'm an alumni or I'm a graduate from there. So that was part of like my plan. And the way I got there, I didn't really decide that I wanted to go to USC like as a real thing. Like I always said it when I was little, like I'm gonna go to USC, I'm gonna go to USC. But you know, like you're going in high school and then paying for college and SATs and all these things you have to do. And I was like, okay, I think I really want to go here. I applied and I got waitlisted. And then I met with the counselor and I got into some other schools full ride. And I met with the counselor at USC and they were like, look, if you really want to come here, don't go to another 4-year university because the chances of you transferring out after 2 years from a 4-year university are just not going to happen. You're going to realize you've been there for 2 years. You got 2 years left. Maybe some of the credits don't transfer over and you're going to realize, you know what? It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. I'm going to just stay here. I'm a graduate and go about my life. Just like if you want to be a Trojan, you might have to go the non-traditional route, which was going to community college first. And keep in mind, I had full rides from others, like full complete rides from other schools. And so I was like, I want to be a Trojan. So I went to my parents and I had an honest conversation with them. And I said, look, like, I want to go to USC. So I'm going to go to Pasadena City College and I'm going to do my GEs there. I'm going to be on the recruiter's tail every single time they come to campus because I want to go to USC. And like, just trust me. Like, you've trusted me this far. Just trust me again. And so my mom, shout out to her. I tell the story all the time. I said, how do you feel about it? And she said, you really want to go there? I said, yeah. She said, okay. Quit her job at South Central Clinic, got a job at the USC Health Center because she was like, ain't no way we paying for that unless we get some assistant.
Hey, that part.
And so, you know, my mom, you know, changed her job and got a job at USC. And at the time, the second you became an employee, you got kid tuition assistance if your kid got to USC. And so she decided to take a chance on me. Who knows the repercussions, right? I don't know the adult talk of if there was a pay cut or whatever, right? But she did that knowing like, okay, you want to go here and you tell me to trust you? I'm betting on you. And so she did that. I went to USC for a year. I applied again. And this thing, everyone tells me like, oh, like where else did you apply? And I'm like, nowhere. That's it. I only applied to USC. That was it. And when I look back on it, I was like, that was so dumb. But at the time, I'm just like, I'm going there. Like the recruiter knows me by name. Like I'm going there. And so obviously I applied. I was able to get in. I got in for the spring semester. And because I took care of my grades in high school and community college, my grades took care of me. I got a university scholarship. I got Cal grants, Pell grants, so much free money that I didn't even need my mom's tuition assistance till about my super senior year because I ended up staying another year. And I remember I asked my mom, I was like, you know, I feel like I just got here. I feel like I really want to stay here. My mom's like, why are you in such a hurry to go to work? You realize you're going to work the rest of your life. You're only going to be in college. And I was like, I know, but I'm going to be like a super senior. She's like, oh my God, who cares? Like, she's like, who cares? And she's like, if it's free, go get yourself something else. And so I ended up double minoring. Had I known I had so much money to play with, I probably would have double majored, but it's fine. I ended up double minoring in communications and business. And so I got a degree from the Marshall School of Business as well. And yeah, that's how that all played out. But I always tell people like, you have to stay focused, yes, but your people have to believe in you too. And once my mom switched jobs, like for me, like, who knows? Maybe she lied and she always was going to do that anyway. But I like to tell the inspirational version of this story.
No, we going with that one. We going with that one.
Like mom was in the trenches for me, you know. But I'm again, like she changed her job, you know, to give me a better shot of paying for school. And so I graduated with my only debt being like housing. Paid those off. but again, imagine me graduating with $200,000 worth of debt. Like, that just wasn't the case for me. And I'm blessed for that. And I'm thankful for my parents for trusting me and, being like, all right, you're going to community college. You're going to pass up all this free money from these full ride schools to do this. Yeah, you better do it right.
You better get it right.
I made sure that I did.
I love that. If I could go back to college, I would today.
Oh my gosh. I
would have probably can. They letting people back in to play football.
Hey, listen, I see that's some eligibility, mate.
I'm about to go back and play some flag. Y'all got a flag football team? I'm captain, wide receiver right here.
Listen, we got you, Nevada State. Shout out to Coach Wade.
I'm saying Wade. I would have been a super duper senior if I could, because we're gonna work forever. So stay in college, kids. Stay in college.
That PSA. All right, so we're kind of jumping into the career. This is our In the Game where we talk about your career. And, I don't want to breeze over things, so highlight whatever you want, but just want to touch on something. Like you talked about in the openings working Sunday Night Football. We talked about the digital where you were handling Snap for the NFL. The Denver, which is crazy, right? We'll probably spend a little more time on that. Yeah. The Lakers, the Dodgers, right? Like, you've just been doing like motocross, I think. You've just been water polo. But what did all of those different roles teach you about the business of sports media, right? Because that's a whole, with your business degree and things like, what did that teach you kind of being in each of those different roles, if there's one thing you can sum up?
Yeah, a lot, honestly. But I think it taught me that I just love what I do. It doesn't really matter what the arena is. It's the same game. And I think for me, understanding that and being like, no matter where you put me, put a microphone in my hand, if it's motocross or rallycross racing or archery, which I covered for the Olympics, football, but whatever it is, I'm going to learn it and I'm going to master it, and understanding you have to be a Swiss Army knife and understand things. And sometimes you're going to be assigned to something you have no idea the rules of, and you have to become an expert overnight. That happens sometimes. So you're studying skills, how to constantly just morph into whatever's needed from you, whether you're producing or on camera or helping out another reporter, whatever it is, understanding that it's part of the growing process in sports. But when you love what you do, which is me, it's telling stories, being in the sports world, being at the matches, at the games, being in the biggest moments of sports, I understand that it's part of what I need to do to become better. So that's really what I learned, is just understanding, like, you just constantly have to adapt. New things are going to come at you. But if you love what you do at a baseline, you're going to be fine. So with me, I love covering sports. I love talking about sports. I love being on camera for sports. Doesn't matter what sport it is. Let's talk about it. Like, I'm going to learn what I need to learn about it, and we're going to have a discussion. And I think that's what really taught me a lot through the course of my career. And I think the other thing that taught me, what all those different positions taught me about sports media, is it's the same people recycled in everything. Like, you're going to see the same people over and over again. And that's why relationships and, just holding your own reputation matters so much, because you're going to see the same people over and over and over again, because they're also adapting and they're also getting assigned to different things. And the same camera guys that were helping me do stand-ups at CBS are the same camera guys that I see now when I'm going to the stadium to host a game. So you just have to remember the longevity of this industry and understand, as quickly as you come up can be as quickly as you can go back down. So remain humble, build those relationships, be genuine, and just understand no one gets to where they are by themselves. Anyone that sits there and puffs their chest out talking about, I did this all by myself. No, you didn't, because somebody said yes to you and somebody took a chance on you. And if you forget that, this industry will eat you alive. And so that's one of the main things that I learned, is just understand, whether the relationship was good or bad, somebody helped you. Somebody said yes, somebody took a chance, and somebody put you out there. And I believe that you have to pay that forward, and I try to do that as much as I can. But you have to remember where you started, because you can always go back there like that.
So can you talk to me about the art of this? So much of sports, professional sports, is the audience and the crowd and the fan bases, right? And a lot of times you have to connect the team and the stories and the players and the athletes to the fan, and while learning the game in some instances. So talk about that art. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. We got dogs on this podcast. But I think for me, understanding like baseball is a good example. Sometimes I have to do interviews with guys that just got called up from the minor leagues. They're not the big fancy name that people know, but this is where your research comes into play. So I try to find things that fans would want to talk about, want to learn about. And I remember I interviewed this guy. He had been in the minor leagues for a few, like almost like 8-9 years. And his last name was Dean, I believe. He actually won the world. He won with the team last year for the World Series in Toronto. But one of the questions I asked him was like, did you ever think this was going to happen for you? You stayed in the minor leagues for 8-9 years. How did you stay that hungry? Because everyone loves an underdog story. And everyone loves to hear of someone that pushed through, what they thought you could never overcome and overcame. And that's what he did. And he said, he was like, honestly, he's like, I just kept believing that one day. And we played that inside the stadium. And I saw fans just being like, man, I'm a root for that guy because he finally made it. And everyone knows that feeling, whether it's sports or not sports, everyone knows the feeling of just staying true and just hoping something good happens. And it happens. It could be something as simple as like you wanted to get something and it was available, or you wanted to go somewhere and you had the free time, little wins, whatever it is, everyone can relate to that feeling. So that research aspect of things really comes into play because that's the best way to connect people, is just understanding, what's happening with the crowd, what's going to get this player to connect with the crowd easier. I did that when I interviewed Marina. She won, Olympics and the Caribbean Games, and she set like an El Salvador record in swimming for the 50-meter butterfly. And do a lot of people know about swimming? No, but everyone knows. I wanted to stress the fact that she was the first female in swimming to have a gold medal. And anyone, doesn't matter if you know the sport or not, you to be the first in anything is a huge accomplishment. So the crowd instantly was cheering and clapping for her because it's like, wow, you broke a barrier that we didn't even know existed. And now we want to potentially learn more about your story. My job is just to get you interested enough so that when you go back to your phone, maybe you Google his name and you go from there. Maybe you follow them. Maybe you do this. That's all my job is. It's not to sell you this big dramatic thing. It's just to detach you from your phone just long enough for you to be like, damn, that's cool. Or, wow, I didn't know that. Or what are the CBC games? And what is this? And what is that? Or CBA games? Like, that's what my job is, to put enough of a nugget in there for you to say, wait, all right, let me look that up real quick. Let me look up this person really quick. And that's the basis of how you can bring sports and these characters, together.
Well, I mean, speaking of first, I mean, let's go ahead and give the flowers, right? I mean, that's amazing, right? So for you to be the first Latino team reporter for the Denver Broncos, like, and we as a culture understand, like, it's great to be the first, but then you get to like, damn, like, where are we at? What century? And I'm the first, but it's congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
And what did that mean for you? Like, and how was it pressure? Just take us through like one getting that, right? Because you set us up earlier. You came, you got it in Paris, right? And then now that's your team, your favorite team, like so much is really packed up. So unpack that a little bit for us.
Yeah, I didn't even know that, honestly. I didn't know that I was the first Latina, team reporter in Broncos franchise history. I got a call from one of my friends, and then I got a call later from the LA Times, and they're like, hey, we're doing this story on Latina reporters in the NFL that are breaking barriers. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, me. I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, I have names like MJ Acosta Ruiz, Katia Castorena, like, like these are amazing women. And he's like, no, I'm calling to interview you. And I'm like, why? I was just like, what'd I do? And he was like, well, I looked, and he told me, he was like, based on the history of the Broncos, you're the first Latina team reporter that they've ever had. And you're one of two on the English side, because Amber Garcia, she's the Spanish team reporter for the Cowboys. But on the English side, it's like, you're one of two Latinas in the NFL that are team reporters in the league. And I was like, oh, okay. So you want to talk to me then? He was like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay. And so, I didn't really realize it. Right. And so when I when I took that on and when I learned that of what that meant, it meant a lot to me because growing up, I didn't have, Latina women that were doing what I was doing, let alone on the English side. And, I got a lot of lights on me, but I am a darker skin tone Latina. And so I didn't see a lot of Latinas that looked like me on TV. And so for me to be a representation of that and showcasing that, it did mean a lot to me. I mean, I'm never going to meet the people that I maybe impact directly, but knowing that I indirectly impacted just by showing up, being myself, showcasing my culture, talking Spanish, translating, doing whatever I do, I know the weight that that carries. And I definitely felt that at the Dodgers too before I left. Like when I would do events, I would look out to the crowd. I remember hosting something for the Dodgers Foundation, and I look out to the crowd and I'm doing the announcements in English, and I'm looking and I can see all these Latina women, Latino fathers with their children kind of looking around, understanding, but not really. And so I was like, you know what? I started translating in Spanish and I started saying my exact announcements in Spanish. And they didn't look at me and say, hey, thank you. I could tell they listened and were like, oh, okay, we go this way, and just went. And it's like just being able to do that without having it be this obvious thing meant a lot to me too, right? Because I had those parents that we would go to back to school things and they're trying to figure out where to go and I'm trying to let them know where to go. So again, I understand the impact of having representation, being bilingual, and especially in a place like Denver, where there is a big Latino community, and especially with the Broncos, there's a huge Latino population that follow the Broncos as well. So helping out the Broncos Espanol side, just trying to provide any kind of help that I could. When J.K. Dobbins was signed, he speaks Spanish and he was always down to do stuff for them. But again, being that happy medium between the English side where I can just go talk to J.K. and say, hey, I'm going to do this interview with you, but after, can I ask you two questions in Spanish for our Spanish channels? He's like, yeah, sure. Did it. They were able to post it and it works, right? Because maybe the Spanish side can't come to the locker room that day, or maybe they missed him, 2 seconds before he left. So being able to help, I think, is a big part of it. And so for me, I take that, deep to my heart because I know what it's like to want to be in this space and not be sure that you belong, right? And so for me to be that for someone, whether I meet them or not, I don't take that lightly, and I try to carry that with me, as I continue my career.
So really 2 parts. So football's interesting because they all wear helmets, and half the time we just see their helmets and numbers. And so,
yes.
Telling the stories about them as people I think is always very important to make them real life as well. And then being a fan of the team, working for the team, how did that play into the experience?
Yeah, the rule of no cheering in the press box, I broke it every game. Because did you see the games we had last year? Okay, first of all, on my birthday against the Giants, this was me the first half. I was like, this is the worst birthday of my life. And then we honor DT on the field, and next thing you know, we come back from 33 down and we win the game, and Bo Nix just going nuts, and it was just amazing. I think handling that, but I think that's part of it. I also think the media landscape has changed so much that yes, you don't want to be a homer necessarily, but I work for the team. So I got away with being a little bit of a homer, right? Because I work for you guys. So my reaction is going to be similar to what your guys' reaction is. So in the post-game analysis, I'm not necessarily going to be like, the Broncos came back, following being down to the Giants. No, I'm going to be like, what a crazy game. I don't even know what I was feeling in the press box. And so you talk the way that fans want to hear, because that's exactly what they were feeling. So I had to find that happy medium, that happy balance to have the casual takes, but also do my job and report what the players were saying in the locker room, any, stats records that were broken, and things like that. And at halftime, we had talked to Emmanuel Sanders specifically about DT, but he was like, they got this. Like, don't worry, they got this game. And I was looking like, did you see the score? Like, you sure we got this? But I talked about that in my post-game analysis. I said, look, I caught up with Emmanuel Sanders at halftime, and he had all the faith in the world that the Broncos are going to win this game. And so when you're able to do tidbits like that, that's what also make the fans want to, come listen to you more, because you're telling them something that they weren't privy to, right? And so you're giving them inside information, about their team. And that's kind of how you bridge the gap between the fans and the players, the stories, maybe people that are new fans and they're not necessarily aware of the impact that Demaryius Thomas had and all these things. And so when you're able to tell these stories, It does mean a lot. And I think for me as a fan in particular, that day was very special because I got to meet Demaryius Thomas's mom, and we unveiled, his pillar in the the Ring of Honor, and he's right next to Peyton. And when she walked up to his statue, like it's like his face on it, she touched his face and she just started crying. And so when I talked to her after, I said, "Hey, like I saw you walk up to him, you touched his face. Like, what did you feel?" And she just started bawling, crying. And then I was like, "Oh man, I made her cry. I'm so sorry." And she was like, "No, these are happy tears. Like I felt like I was touching his face." That's how good of a job they did. And telling her story and what she means to him and what he meant to me growing up, those are the things that I live for and why I love this sport so much, because it translates more than just X's and O's. And for her to have that emotion, you go onto the field, the Broncos end up winning that game. They honor DT at halftime, put him in the Ring of Honor and all those things. It just, that's how you tell stories, right? Because guess what? That little kid that's 6 years old and doesn't know who DT is, their dad, their brother, whoever's there, I guarantee after the game, just showing them highlights, telling them stories, going, to his statue and all those things. And so I think like those moments are really important. That's how you tie future generations into the legends of the past by also connecting it to the players that are on the field now.
Absolutely. R.I.P. DT, going too soon.
Yeah, shout out to
MH though, did you see how I went from that off camera to cameras on? That interview voice she gave us, boy.
100%.
I'm saying.
Always ready. So with that, you had a chance to work with or partner, I guess, with Telemundo. I don't know if that was during the Sunday night or whatever, but just I want to dig into more of what that feel is like. Yes, when you think about sports, there's the the ESPNs and the Fox, all these networks, which now have Deportes as a part of their broadcast lineup. Well, how is that, and what's that importance of that channel or working for that channel, right? Because I know what it was like when we finally got BET, right? Like, so how is it like to to become a part of that, right? And just to see Telemundo not only do what they have, but to Telemundo Deportes that kicked it off and really showed the importance of and I guess led suit for all these other, because NBC, CBS, all of them are following suit.
Yeah, Telemundo Deportes, obviously with Sunday Night Football, was a big deal because when I was field producing for them, it was their first year that they were going to have a sideline reporter at every Sunday Night Football game, right? And so the pressure was on. They're like, "Look, like we're handing you the keys to basically prove why we need these 2 credentials on the sideline." Because you guys know, like being on the sideline the whole game, it's hard to get those credentials, and it's even harder to keep them because you're constantly having to prove, well, why do you need to be there the whole game? Why do you need to be on the sideline the whole game? And so I'll never forget, shout out my producer, Vic. I remember when I first started, he was like, "Hey, so if we don't get a player interview, just let me know and I will make sure we stretch in the studio. Then we'll toss it back to the reporter. She'll do a report and then we'll call it a night." And I'm like, "Why wouldn't we get a player?" And he's like, "Well, like stuff happens, players can't talk or PR, like the timing doesn't work." So, and I was like, "No, we're going to get a player every week." And he was like, "Okay, like let's relax." He's like, and I was like, "And we're going to get a tier 1 player." And what I mean by that is like guys that are starting or like had the game winning play. That's what I mean. And that's exactly what I did. For 18 weeks, we got Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, we got Josh Allen, we got Jalen Hurts, we got Isaiah Pacheco, we got so many guys that my bosses were like, "Whoa, like how did you get them?" And I was like, you just basically hype onto what you're with. So we were with NBC, right? We're the Spanish language channel for NBC Sunday Night Football. So we are on the same trucks with Melissa Stark and all those things. So I'm like, I'm not gonna diminish my light for what? You guys are putting me up there. I'm gonna make sure that I eat the same way that they do. And so when I would talk to teams, I would make sure that I was there for NBC's. We have a before the game, like 2 hours or so, we have a production meeting on the field where they tell the security guards who we are, all those things. I was always there. I always met the producers. So as soon as, at the time, Caroline, she was the producer for Sunday night, she would talk to the PR. I was right behind her. As soon as she was done, "Hi guys, I'm with Spanish side, Telemundo Deportes. And I would just, you just gotta fake it till you make it. Okay. I'm like, hey, we don't get the same people Melissa go get. You just, all good? Great. And so they were like, okay, sure. And so I, just kind of pushed as much as I could. And sometimes stuff would happen, like, hey, Joe Burrow, he's only going to do one interview. It's just me, Melissa's. Who else do you want? I'm like, all right, let's get Chase, or let's get, Higgins or whatever. And they would do that. And so it was great to have those relationships. Again, talking to them, getting their phone numbers, talking to them during the game, letting them know who we wanted to get. And we never missed an interview. We always had a player all 18 weeks, including playoffs. And so when I left, as you mentioned about, being the first, I believe I was like one of their first female field producers. I didn't want to be the last, right? So when I left to go to Paris and then Denver, they hired someone else. And I remember I had a conversation with her and I said, look, I did a lot of work to get these players talking to us every single week. They know the routine. Do not go in there talking about, can we? No, we're going to.
Let's go.
None of this, like, can we get that? No, we're going to get this guy. Hey, so we want this guy. And hey, it's just 2 questions. That's it. And if they say 1 question, okay, 1 question. And guess what? That question will be 1A and 1B. Okay. So it's like that. That's how you do it. And so that's what I made sure to pass on to her and just be like, you gotta keep what I built. These producers, these PR people, they know what Telemundo did, and you can reference last year. Well, last year we got Dak Prescott, so we would like to get Dak Prescott again. And last year, we got Jalen Hurts, and last year we got Josh Allen, and that's how you want to do it. And she did a great job. She's still there, and she's been producing the last 2 years for them, and so she's been holding her own as well. So that makes me happy. And she's actually transitioned a little bit to basketball too. And so that's what you wanted me to do. Like, yeah, I was maybe the first to be there as a sideline field producer, but I didn't want to be the last. And I made sure that I did my job very good so that they knew the value of us being there. And then I passed that on to my successor, and she's gonna, hopefully she never leaves. She's amazing. But I mean, that's kind of how you have to do it, is understanding like that balance and just not taking no for an answer.
I mean, it's very true.
You just gotta lie.
You got it. Yeah,
I know Dak. I talked to him before the game. He said it was great. I don't know that man. I don't know that man.
Yeah, you kind of have to do it that way.
Got to.
So, working the different platforms from podcasts and socials and live hosting, all those things. Like, how do you approach it differently, or do you approach it differently?
Producing a lot more research, just because I feel like when you're on air, you know exactly what you're going to talk about. And I feel like when you're producing, you have to know what they're talking about, but then you also have to prepare plan B, C, D, E, all these things. Because the good thing about having a good producer, especially when you're on camera, is they got you covered if something kind of a monkey wrench gets thrown in, or a stat or something. And they're like, yeah, it's this one. Or, oh, I pulled it for you already. So you're not spending time fumbling or looking for notes. They just hand it right to you, which is why I appreciate and shout out every field producer that I ever worked with. And I tried to do the same when I was working with them. And I think for me, the biggest thing, you just always have to remember, whether you're live hosting or producing, you're not the star of the show. Like, these people are here to see the game. I think about that with the Dodgers all the time. Like, people are like, oh my God, you work for the Dodgers. And I'm like, bro, ain't nobody here to see me. My family's here to see me. And that's the extent of it. Like, I'm here to give the fans what they need and get them excited to watch this game. That's it. They are not buying tickets to watch Elisa Hernandez on the pregame show, as much as I like to believe that. No, they're going, and the best thing I want them to say is they look up and they say, oh, I like her. And that's it. That's the extent. And then you listen to what I say, you watch the pre-show, you do the games in the game, and you go home happy. Then I did my job. Our job is just to make you guys have a great time at the ballpark. And same thing when I'm live hosting. I do the same thing. Like, my job is not to put the attention on me. You are here for an event. I am just here to give you the information of that event, hype up whatever performance we're about to have on stage, hype up what you're going to do next. Like, that's what I'm here for. And I think, like, as you continue to go through your career, you realize, like, less is more. Like, and I would tell reporters this all the time, whether they're producing or I was reporting or I'm talking to the, people that want to be reporters. I used to, unless it's like a big stat, like, you don't have to tell the player what they did. They know what they did. Just ask them, expand on the knowledge of what they have in the game and an aspect that they don't want. I think one of the questions that we asked for Sunday Night Football, because we didn't get, I forgot what the exact play was, but we didn't get like the game winning guys that did it, right? We didn't get the receiver or the quarterback. We ended up getting someone else that was on defense that made a big play to turn the ball over. And I watched him as they kicked the field goal to win. And so after the game, I was like, okay, so you get the big turnover. What'd you see on that play that caused you to have the upper hand? They tell me. And I said, what was going through your mind when he kicked the ball? Did you think it was going to go in? And I remember, I think it was Nick Benito. He was like, I didn't watch. I closed my eyes. I was like, what you mean? He's like, I couldn't watch. It was too intense. And I'm like, bruh. And so, but it's like that's what you want to know, right? It's like, I'm watching you on the sidelines. Your eyes are closed. Why are your eyes closed? What are you visualizing? And he's like, oh man, like, it's just, I was thinking about this play and this game was going back and forth. And I'm either going to be really happy or really sad. And that's kind of what you want to go. I don't have to say like, this is your fifth sack in 4 games. And how are you doing this? Like you got 40 QB hit. Like the viewers don't need to, they don't care. They just get to the point. Just get to the point. You were able to knock the ball out of his hand to give your team the ball back with a chance to win with 4 seconds left on the clock. What'd you see on that play that allowed you to get the upper hand? That's it. That's all you got to say. And then they'll fill in the rest. It's their time to talk. Your question should not be longer than their answer. I say that all the time. Like, it should not. So just remember that. And the player will, and obviously every player is different, and you learn players and you know which players like talking a lot and which ones need a little bit more help. But for the most part, like if you just kind of guide them in the direction, at the end of the day, they're talking ball and they love to talk ball. But just remember, less is more. I listen to Melissa Stark's post-game interviews all the time, and sometimes she'll look at them and she'll be like, what was that last play? That's the question. That's the question. And the player will go, and the player will go, I don't even know, Melissa. Let me tell you. And then they'll talk. Because guess what? The viewers at home, as great as Melissa is, as amazing as she's been, they want to hear from the player. And she does an amazing job of just getting to the point. What was that? What was that game? And so I think like people can take notes of that and understand like it's just less is more. Less is more. Let the player talk.
Of that. So before we move on real quick, how is it, when the team, I mean, you've been a part like the Dodgers or world champions, right? How is it going through a season as that momentum? Like, do you start to feel it? Is it like, you know what I mean? Like, are you seeing it come along? Because you're along the way and you're telling these stories. And there's certain stories that seem like they motivate or ignite or, unite a team, right? So have you seen that like with any of the teams, right? You talked about how the Broncos were playing last year. We're definitely on a great playoff run, barring an injury. Who knows who's in the Super Bowl, right? So how was it like that with the Dodgers, man? Did you notice that? Did you see that? And hell, you got the greatest player on girl on the team. Like as much as you talk around that,
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for the team, it's one of those things where regular season, and I said all the time, it's a numbers game, right? And as great as any team is playing, it always comes down to those last like 5-6 games. The Dodgers were a wild card team last year, which is crazy to think, right? And so when you look at what they had to go to win the World Series, it's a lot of games. And so it's a lot of pressure, it's a lot of things. But I think once the regular season is done, it's all about that. To me, it's that first game. It's like how are they going to come out in this first game? Because now all the ups and downs, the dog's days, that's all behind you. The regular season is done. That's part 1. And now you have to start all over again. You're back at 0. Doesn't matter how you got in the playoffs. If you're in, you're in. And now you have to do what you can to win. And so when you see how they come out, our production team does such a good job of just that atmosphere of what Dodger Stadium feels like is amazing, whether it's the Seven Nation Army hype video playing or it's, these legends like, Ice Cube coming out to perform and getting the crowd. Like you have these moments like They Not Like Us was like the anthem for the 2024 World Series. And I remember like that commercial and they had like the Mr. Cartoon like clown mask on, and it was just like everyone's like, how are you gonna beat this team? They're so cool. Like, it's just like they had that moment. So when you feed into that and then players are having iconic plays, I think what makes the Dodgers special, especially when we won, was everybody was contributing. Everybody had a moment. Everybody had, a breakthrough moment, whether it was Freddie or Miguel Rojas or Pajes or Kike or Teo or whoever. Everyone had a moment, not necessarily just Shohei or just, Mookie or just at the time when Kershaw was playing. Everybody, it took everybody. And when you have a team that doesn't mind the starting pitcher coming out the bullpen, as many stars as there are on the team, like there's no egos, like everyone just wants to win. And when you have a team like that they're like, I don't care where you put me in the best position to win, that's a scary team.
Absolutely. And a manager that helps and understands how to do that, put those
Love
puzzles
Dave
together,
Roberts.
right? Definitely Dave Roberts fan. MH, man, it's time for a little bit of a sudden change, man. You ready?
Yeah, so just random questions.
Oh, man.
So our audience to get to know you better. Just very random.
Okay.
Favorite sports movie?
Remember the Titans.
Coffee or energy drinks?
I'm more of an ice cream person. I don't really drink coffee like that. If I need some energy, just give me some sugar.
Ice cream.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So
I don't want to get you in trouble. Oh, that's fine. World Series or Super Bowl?
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go Super Bowl. I'm gonna go Super Bowl.
Okay. Beach or mountains?
Oh, beach.
A Netflix binge or like live sports?
Live sports.
Morning person or night owl?
Woo-hoo. Night owl. For sure. Don't call me in the morning. Don't call me before 8.
But not the noise though. Okay.
Sneakers, shoes, are you heels?
Sneakers.
Text or phone call?
Text.
Hidden talent.
I can
Honestly, animal noises.
I can show animal noises. I can do this weird trick. So if I hold the pen like this, I can flip it.
That is. We can ask. I mean, the follow-up question is like, when
I'm telling you,
how did you discover this?
People can't do that. Look, all you gotta do is hold the pen up like this, cross your fingers, and then flip it. People can't do that. Apparently, I learned that. People freaked out. Yeah, It's a weird talent. I know. It does nothing. It does nothing, but it's a talent.
It definitely is a talent. Last one. Well, two more. I changed this one, EJ, just because of you, just how much I love you, brother. Okay. Text or phone call?
Text.
Okay. It used to be, just so you know, it used to be Android or Apple.
Okay.
And the answer to that is.
Oh, wait, we changed the question. She didn't have to answer that. What are we doing?
For the sports world, it's Apple. I used to have an Android. I didn't want to give it up, but let me tell you, when you're on the field and there's no service, iMessage comes in clutch. And the judgment you get for being a green bubble, I was just like, this is crazy. But all right. So
hence why the question was supposed to change. Okay. He's not following his producer. You're right. He went rogue.
I went rogue.
All good.
And then the last one, if you partake, last Halloween costume.
My last Halloween. Oh, I was Lola Bunny.
My kid. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on. Love the question. I like the way the questions were starting and then we fell into, I don't know. Anyway. All right, so here we go. Is the
it's sudden change. So I mean, it's just sometimes
I just got to keep it flowing.
Got to keep it going, right?
Exactly.
All right. Okay. Winner Circle is where we give you time to just talk about what's going on, what's new, where you're going, and we'd like to share all aspects. So thank you for taking us down this amazing journey. But wanted to talk, when we asked you, you were telling us that you want to promote your media company, because I know I'm going to butcher it. So, and the way you rolled R's and curled T's during this, and Latina, I gotta brush up on it. So tell us about your media consulting company that you're either in development, been working on. Talk to us more about that.
Yeah, so I started Chatto Media, and it's basically a consulting company. It's also what I use for my business, like doing live hosting and things like that outside of my regular job. And basically, people don't know about me is I have a lot of background in marketing and consulting because that's partly what I did at the NFL. So when I was doing social media and being on camera for El Snap, which is our Latino account, I was also in that same breath consulting on how we can market the NFL to the US Latino audience. And what that means is the Spanglish speakers, maybe people that know Spanish, but just a couple words, they can read it, but not, speak it. And how do you tap into that market? Also, the understanding of different cultures across the US. We have our NFL Mexico account that is amazing. I'll have a lot of friends that work for them, do an amazing job. But me being Central American, I'm not really going to adapt to some of the content they do on NFL Mexico because it's not my culture. So how do I get these people to follow our account and follow the Cuban players that we have in the NFL, the Puerto Rican players we have in the NFL, and how do I get you guys to care about these players? And I think for me, that's where I got my marketing background from. And so just understanding marketing, consulting, consumer behavior, and how you can market those things across sponsorship, social, digital, and linear. It was like my bread and butter. So I do that on the side, just for some side projects that I've done. But that's also how I also do my live hosting. That's not necessarily Dodgers, but like outside menus. So if you guys need consulting help, marketing help, I got you. You'd be surprised how much I know. Sometimes I'd be surprising myself. I'd be talking. They're like, wow. I'm like, I know, right?
Let's go. So do you think the sports industry in general has still missed the boat on the representation from, the Latino side? Like you mentioned, like there's different cultures or aspects to each one that you spoke about. Is that still a gap? Are they realizing? Are they leaning into it, missing the boat? Do they just need to pick up the phone and sign a big contract with you? But
yes, I think it's a mixture of everything, right? Because everything has its moment. There's always a cultural moment that happens or a player that comes up or something like that. You have Christian Gonzalez, for the Patriots. He was the first Colombian to ever be drafted in the first round. He's the highest Latino to ever be drafted in the NFL. I believe he was like the only Latino to be drafted in the first round in the history of the NFL. And, when he went on stage, he opened up his coat and it was a Colombian flag behind him. And so it's one thing to be that, and then you're out there balling. You know what I mean? You're out there producing, you're putting up numbers and still representing culture. So a lot of it is these guys too. Like, how connected are you to this culture and have it be authentic and genuine? I feel like that's the best way to actually bridge that gap. You can't just throw a sticker, and say like, hey, that's culture. Like, no, like the players have to want to engage in it because they feel connected to it. I feel like that's the best way to bridge that gap. And I feel like the NFL has done a really good job of that. The NBA expanding to different countries to play and all these things. So it's starting. I just feel like there's more work to be done. And I think for Latinas in general, we represent a large part of the fan base, especially in the NFL. And I saw a report the other day and it was funny because it said like the NFL or I don't know if the NFL in particular, but the league or people that cover the league are specifically covering WAG content, which is wives and girlfriends of the players, to bring in female fans. And I was like, the female fans are there. Like, it's like, yes, the new fans maybe that follow Madison Beer and Taylor Swift, and they don't fair. There is a market for that. But there also is a market of female fans that are just fans, and so I think leaning into that a little bit more is interesting. The Chargers announced their women's sports club, which I thought was great, and it's specifically tailored to women that love sports and are Charger fans. And so I think it's continuing to build, whether it's women or Latinas in sports or Latino culture or whatever it's going to be. I think it's always constantly growing because it's constantly evolving. At the end of the day, you just have to have a character for it. You have to have someone that is going to embody everything that you want it to be. And I think in particular, I'm gonna give a shout out to my friend, Diana, because for flag football, she won the games. That was 4 years ago at this point. And because she's so proud to represent Mexico in the Olympic Games, and she's so proud to, showcase Mexican culture in she plays her teammates and all these things, you're able to build a huge storyline around that. And you're able to get young Latino kids to want to play because you have Diana Flores playing and they're like, I want to be like her. But she's like, I want you to be like me too. And so when you have someone that embodies that they're able to help bridge that gap because they're willing to go out and do the interviews. They're willing to go out into the communities. They're willing to go out and do commercials and all these things. When you have someone that's willing to do that while also pushing the culture forward, that's what's going to bridge the gap. And so the more players you find, the more people you find that want to do that, the better it's going to be for the game across all sports.
Building fandom, in your opinion, what do you think is more important, or are they all important? Winning games, player personalities, or some of the community work that these organizations do or players do?
Building fandom, winning will solve everything. That's true. But if you truly want your fans to stick by you, because you're not going to win all the time, it's the player stories, and perfect example for the Broncos, Zach Allen, he's not a name you're going to hear that often because my first year there, I believe we only had like 2 primetime games. Zach Allen led the league in QB hits the last 2 years. He led the league in quarterback pressures. Does the average football fan know his name? Probably not. But if you're going to go out there and tell his story and so like how he's able to hold his own next to Nick Bonito and everyone you have on the defensive line, Malcolm Roach, and all those guys, you're able to see like, okay, like, damn, he really is a monster. Well, who is he? And then you're able to tell his story and just what he's able to do. I remember when he signed his contract, he was just like, his extension last year, he was like, man, like, they're like, what would you be doing if you weren't playing football? And he's like, I don't know, selling insurance. And I'm like, I can't even picture you like fitting in an office, like let alone like selling me like protective coverage, like for my car. But you tell these stories and you tell, their backgrounds and how they worked. And he was this pick and came here and he was at the Cardinals. And next thing you know, Vance Joseph brought him over and now he's this powerhouse. That's what's going to make you root for the team, even if you're not doing well. That's what's going to make you root for the team and stick by them when maybe Zach Allen may miss a tackle or so close to sacking the QB, he gets the ball off for the game-winning touchdown. That's how you get fans to stick by you for the fandom, because you're able to build this gap with the players where it's like, okay, we didn't win, but those are still my guys. And that's what you want to build. Winning comes and goes, but if you're able to build those relationships with fans and your players, you're going to go a long way. I mean, that's how not every team is good, but you have these diehard fan bases because their players love them. And the other part of what you said, they're also in the community, or they're engaging on social media, or they're staying after the game to sign autographs or throw balls, with the kids in the stands or whatever it may be. That's how you build that undying loyalty, by saying like, you know what, we didn't win the game, but I know he played hard because he loves being part of this city and he loves being part of this team. And so when you're able to build that connection, that's what's going to build your fandom.
So
I'll bill you for that too. Don't worry.
Invoice coming. With where you are, right, and where women are in sports media, do you have a group or support network, right? Like as you're tackling some of the things, because they talk about forget what it's called, but like being a woman in sports, right? Like it's a white male dominated sport. Do you have a circle of trust or a circle of power, that you lean into as you kind of moving through your career?
I do. I have multiple group chats, and I definitely have group chats with the women in sports that I've met, and I would not be where I am without them, because there's certain things that they're going to understand that the average person will not understand. Sometimes you may feel like you're at the top of the world and you just have to tell your friends like, oh man, like I don't know how to feel. And you tell it to the average person, they're like, Elisa, you get to go to all these games, you get to do this, you get to do that. And it's like, yeah, but it's a lot, it's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of pressure to continue to, be on your game. And so to have people in your corner that understand it, have been through it, especially, now going back to the freelancing game for me, coming back from Denver, I'm talking to my friends about it. I'm like, yeah, like, the freelance game is a little different now. And they're like, yeah, it is. But you know what? We're going to help you out. We're going to speak your name in rooms that you're not in. And I'm going to refer you to stuff and I'm going to do this. So to have that village and not have that competition, that's what I love about the women in sports that I've met. We're always big believers in the fact that we're not going to be mad about a job we don't get. We're going to be more mad that there's only one job for 50 women that are more than qualified to compete for. That's what we're going to be mad about. We're not going to be mad at who gets it. They should get it. And that's, as you mentioned, EJ, with the post that I did today with the Sparks, I auditioned for that job. I didn't get it. I lost out to my friend JB, and I wasn't mad. Like, I was happy for her. I was like, okay, like, get it. Like, I was like, cool, like, you got it. I'm happy for you. The ironic thing is that I had met her for the first time ever in my life, like maybe 4 months before that. We worked a job in Vegas where we were hosting a race, and I met her for the first time, and she was the rookie coming in being like, oh, like, I don't know where to go. I'm like, I got you. This is what you need to do. Da, 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 da. I was like, hey, you want to take the mic and you want to do the intro? Hey, do it. I'm here to support you. And so have that meeting with her, and then 5 months later, now I'm stepping into her arena as a co-host for Dodgers Night at the Sparks. Like, it was a full circle moment for me. And me and her joked about it. And I was like, man, what if I was mean to you when I met you in Vegas? And then next thing you know, I'm here working and doing it. And she just, we just started laughing. But you can't be jealous. Like, it just has to make you work harder. Like, you have, like I said, I got wins and lessons. You got to take everything as a motivation. You can't, it's not personal. They're going to find anything you didn't get wasn't meant for you. And you just have to understand that every organization has a look or a talent that they're looking for. It doesn't mean you don't have it. It just means it's not for them, but it can be for someone else. So that's the biggest thing.
Shout out to Jay Beasy.
Yeah.
Compton Oprah. All right. So this is where we come to the assist. All right. So the assist is you put your coaching hat on, or you just kind of give words to live by. So tell us a quote, maybe something you would tell your younger self or something you just want to share with our audience, but give us that coaching gem.
Yeah, my coaching gem is 2 things. 1, dishonesty is a self-inflicted wound, and don't confuse routine with commitment. And the reason why I love those 2 quotes is because when you're dishonest about what you want to do, who you want to be, how you want to present yourself, it only hurts yourself. At the end of the day, you're messing yourself up, right? And so, I tell people all the time, like, when I'm a Dodgers host, everyone has their own personality, and I can't do what they do. I can only do what I do. But if I sit there and I try to be this like super jokester and super crazy, like, that's not me. And like, you're gonna know it's not me because it's gonna look weird. And so you're gonna be like, why is she doing that? Why is she trying to act like this person? Just be honest with yourself. Like, all right, I can do this to a certain extent, right? And I think you just have to understand, like, being honest with yourself is always key about whether you want to stay somewhere, you want to leave, you want to try something new. You're only going to hurt yourself by not being truthful with yourself about what you want to do in your career or in life, really. And then the other one, don't confuse routine with commitment. I've seen people do that all the time where they want to do something else, but like, well, I've been doing this for so long. And, and it's like, so do something else. It's like people get so stuck in the fact that, well, I've been doing this for so long. And it's like, okay, well, are you doing it because you love it? Or are you doing it because it's all you know?
Yeah.
So don't confuse the 2. Like, understand, like, what we do in the sports world, I'm sure you guys know, it's a commitment. To put this show on, it's a commitment. The work that goes behind it. You got to love it to have to want to book guests and get the topics right and lighting and recording and all this stuff. The commitment that takes. You're not just doing this because, like, well, what else I'm gonna do? Like, no, understand the difference, because your work will reflect that. And you'll know really quick when someone's just doing it because it's just what they've done and they're in the routine of it, or someone that is committed to their craft and wants to be better than they were yesterday.
Hey, man, pass a collection plate on that. Okay, so how can we and our audience help or support you? I guess the easy one is definitely start with your socials. But if there's something in particular that we can help you or support you with, please share that now.
Yeah, no, of course. Obviously, you can follow me on Instagram at Elisa Hernandez TV. You can follow me on X, Hernandez TV. I don't really use TikTok. I should, but I just don't. Sometimes it's here. It's gonna get. I don't use TikTok like that. I should, but I don't. And then, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just, if you're watching this and you're like, damn, like, she's cool. Like, I'd want her to. I know someone that maybe was looking for someone to host something. Let me know. I mean, this industry is all about word of mouth. It's all about connecting people. And that's why I said, like, I love my friends. I will speak their names in rooms that they're not in, because I know that they'll do the same for me. And I think the biggest way to support me is just, if you're trying to be in sports, you're trying to look for, like, or you're in sports, just help out the next person. Help out someone that looks like you. Help out someone that doesn't look like you. Like, everyone's trying their hardest to make in this industry. And the idea that there isn't room for all of us is just a lie. So you just have to remember that. push through it. It doesn't hurt to connect with people. It doesn't hurt to talk to people. And I think the biggest way is just, follow along, comment, engage with me. I love talking to people on social. So it's probably the best way.
Let's go. So MH, man, take us home, man. Hit us with those final thoughts, man, so we can get out of here.
No, it's just been outstanding. Everything has been great, and we really appreciate you coming on and rapping with us. All great outside of the Broncos thing. I have to give you a hard time about that. But everything else has been really cool. It's amazing to hear your story and the inspiration that you are, and not just you opening the room and the door for others to come behind. I think it's really cool. And to your point, it is an industry, sports is, but I like what you said, that there is room for everybody at the table. It's just kind of helping the ones that are next. But appreciate you. Hope you had a good time hanging out with us, and we'll be a big fans that support you here on out.
I appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me on. This was so fun. The time just went by, but that's what happens when you're having fun. So I appreciate both of you for bringing me on and for the time.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to seeing you soon. We want to thank our guests for giving us some time. As you can see, she is making things happen, changing the world, changing and providing opportunities. So I hope you enjoyed the show just as much as we did. If you did, please share the show. Someone needs to hear this message, right? So it's not all about what you've learned, but it's what you can share with others. So as you know, we drop a new show every Thursday. How you can keep up with that is make sure you hit that bell on that YouTube. If you can't see it, you can't be it. So like we always like to say, please subscribe to our YouTube, because visual representation matters. All right. And then also you can follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. So please, as we leave you, and we say the same thing, man, stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.